Speaker Mike Johnson, I'm telling you, is completely on message, on the right message. So let's talk about all this. Bring back our great friend and mentor, Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker and Fox News contributor. You know, Newt, all swirling around. I mean, there's a lot going on right now in the world after July 4th and 250. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff being written. The GOP can't possibly deliver on a big budget bill. We can't get tax cuts. We can't get the SAVE Act. So Speaker Johnson told me, we were in D.C. Wednesday, very calmly and straightforwardly, he wants a reconciliation bill that will include some way of getting through this Save Voters ID Act, Citizenship Act, and tax cuts, indexing capital gains, which we've all tried to get for so many years and we never did. You know, you got the capital gains tax cut way back in the contract with America. I don't know, you rolled Clinton. I don't know who did it. Rubin was opposed to it, as I recall. But I'm just saying that helped spur a lot of growth in the next 4 or 5 years, balanced the budget and led to a surplus. So let's do it again. Let's index it. Let's increase the exemption from, you know, selling a home. All these things would work. Johnson is the leading Republican now, Newt, who's in favor of this.
Look, I think if you put the right package together, you're in a position, I think, to have the country insist on passing it. Take, for example, the point you made with Speaker Johnson about the right kind of tax break for selling your home. There are millions of Americans whose children have grown up, their house is too big, they'd like to sell it, but the current tax consequence is so great they won't sell it. Yep. Well, if you could eliminate that tax problem, you'd have several million homes come in the market at a reasonable price, and younger Americans would have a chance to buy a house. When you had mentioned something you and I both have worked on for years, indexing capital gains, and for our audience, it's very simple. Should you have to pay tax on inflation? Now, if you don't pay tax on inflation, suddenly you have a much bigger interest in investing. If you can invest and you move money from places that aren't doing well to places that represent the future, when we cut the capital gains tax when I was Speaker, revenue was at $60 billion from capital gains. After we cut it, it jumped to $200 billion because all of a sudden people said, hey, now it's worth my while to invest in one of these new upstarts, you know, things like Apple or Google or Microsoft. All of a sudden you had this huge explosion of energy as money went into better investments for the future. So I do think if Mike can put together a package that the country wants. Now, I always emphasize as a former speaker, everything we did, because we were students, as you were, of Ronald Reagan, everything we did started with the American people, because that's where Reagan started. That's where Lincoln started. And if Speaker Johnson can get the right package, then the Democrats have a choice. If you're a marginal Democrat in a district where you could lose, and everybody back home says, hey, I really want this, do you really want to go into the election having voted against the people of your district? And I think that's what you come down to.
Well, I think that Speaker Johnson knows how to put a coalition together. He talked about that in my interview with him. You got to touch all the various groups in the GOP conference, in the House conference. Okay, that's fine. That's the way the game works. I'm okay with that. I'm just saying it's refreshing. He's very clear, Newt. You know, he's very Gingrich-like. He's very clear what he wants. That's the way you were when you had that job. You had a list of items and you went for it, and everybody knew you went for it. And God bless you, you got what you went for. I think that's very exciting. And the other side of it, look, you listen to President Trump. Whether it's at Mount Rushmore or at the July 4th in Washington, D.C., or elsewhere. He's saying, you know, two things, and it really is important. He's saying America is great, and we're going to keep it that way. Freedom and free enterprise and liberty, and we get our rights from God, not from big government, socialists or communists. But he also went out of his way to trash the socialist, communist, Mandami, whatever, AOC. And I think we're going to hear a lot of that. Here's what America is, how great it is. Look at the economy is doing so much better than the media will ever acknowledge, the stock market and so forth. But we're not going to let the communists in the door. And I think that's the Democrats are boxed in. They're accepting this Mandami communism, anti-Semitism. What are they going to do? I think Mr. Trump's going to have a field day on this.
You know, James Carville set the whole fight up when he said the other day that the people who won the primaries in New York are so radical, they should not be allowed in the Democratic caucus. And I think the Republicans in every congressional district should ask of their incumbent, are you really going to vote to give power, to give a committee assignment, to give recognition to people who believe in a whole series of things which most Americans repudiate? As you know, Larry, I run a small project called the America's New Majority Project. We have issue after issue where 85% of the country is on one side, our side, and 10 to 15% is on the Mandami side. And if Republicans can just learn to slow down, communicate it, it's very interesting. Lincoln's advice to friends who are going to give a speech for him is speak slowly. If you go back and you watch Reagan, as you know, because you were there, Reagan spoke at a pace that people could understand. And if every Republican this summer and fall had two choices, here is a platform of the American people, things 70, 80% want, and here is the platform of nutcake left-wing weirdos, 10 to 15% want. You pick between the weirdos and the American people, and I think we would win that election by a shocking margin.
Well, I happen to agree. I think the president agrees with you, too. I think he set it up all weekend long, and I'm glad that he did. I'm glad that he laid it out. We're going to get you gas prices, excluding the state of California. We're going to get you that. I think Kevin Hassett's going to talk about it. But gas prices are coming down. You set $3.50 as one political marker. I agree. I think you're going to be there easily. And if you take California and its crazy taxes and whatnot out, it probably could be under $3 by election time. Newt Gingrich, thank you very, very much. Appreciate it.